Alright, experiment time. This is for 4-cylinder, I know that. I put a good amount inside the cylinder, and that's just draining in there, and then the rest into the oil, and the oil is going to get changed again. And I got this stuff. It was supposed to be Rizlam, supposed to help free up the rings. I got distracted by the guy in the counter. When I got home, I noticed I grabbed the wrong stuff, not for engine, for transmission. So that sucks. The stuff for the engine you can leave in all the time, so I'm going to have to take that back and get the Rizlam. But I'm going to go with 1540 instead of the 2050 that I had before. Right now it does have 530 in it, which I think is just too thin, given that it's got 330,000 miles. I added that stuff in the cylinder. I want to see if I can get it to fix itself again. I put a good amount in, and then I bumped the starter over a little bit, just so I don't hydrolock it. Hopefully I don't hydrolock it. But if I hydrolock it, you get to hear what that sounds like. It's probably going to smoke pretty bad. Alright, see in the mirror, see the smoky. So I'm going to let it run for a little bit. I highly doubt that this is going to do anything, but I figured, why not give it a try? Last time I put oil in the cylinder, it fixed it for like, I don't know, 6 months. So, let's see what happens. Usually by now it's already misfiring. It might not be warmed up enough, but usually it's pretty fast that it misfires. Now the idle's coming down. Usually it's misfiring by now. You see the history there. Oh, there it goes. I didn't think it was going to do anything. It was wishful thinking. Give it a couple revs. Smoky. I think it's just too far gone. It's misfiring now, so that didn't work. Alright, day 2 of my experiment with this thing. I poured maybe 2 ounces of engine restore into the spark plug hole, cranked it over by hand, let it sit for a little bit, and then I cranked it with the starter just to make sure some of it came out, and then I put the spark plug in. I didn't want to hydrolock it, and then I poured the rest of the contents in there, which was only one for a 4-cylinder, so it was like half the amount. There's no way. I just put that Rizlam in there. There's no way that this worked. I don't know. This stuff is super thick. Probably not good. Probably hit the fan and blow the hell up. This stuff is super thick. Alright. I'm not feeling any misfires. So I'm hooking the scanner up to see. There's just, I don't know. I find it very hard to believe that this worked. There's just no way. And I figure, give it a try, see what happens. This doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that this would work. There's no way. Yeah, it's still misfiring. I didn't think so. So I'm going to let this thing run for quite a bit. Maybe cruise it around. Hopefully I don't get pulled over. It's not registered or insured. But still the same. I mean, this thing's smooth. I don't feel nothing. It's just you get a pop every once in a while. The final thing is I have the ATS fluid. Should be here tomorrow. That stuff you can't leave in. You have to put it in, run it for 20 minutes, like 10 to 20 minutes at a high idle, and then you change the oil immediately. Plus, I have a fuel system cleaner. The heads are perfectly fine because I rebuilt the heads as far as carbon. There should be no carbon on it, but the fuel injectors there is about 2 psi less in cylinder 1 of flow during the test. The attempt there is to maybe clean out the injector with the ATS stuff. If I can get this idle to be at like 800 RPMs all the time, I would never have a misfire again. The misfire is only at idle. Let's see if I rev it, anything happens. Very minimal smoke. I knew that stuff wasn't going to work, but it just seemed like at the tailpipe it wasn't misfiring anymore. And I can't feel nothing, man. That's the frustrating part. I don't feel anything. I hear a slight pop every once in a while at the tailpipe. Let's see what we got here. So now cylinder 1 is... See, it's still misfiring. This looks, yeah, there's the misfire. Let me, I don't really need these. Cylinder 2 looked like it had a misfire there. I don't know what that was about. You go back. Cylinder 2 right here. Yeah, it's still counting up, but it is slower. I wonder if this stuff is actually going to do anything. Like I said, I don't believe in any of that crap. But given the situation, I'd much rather give it a try, since the engine's got to come out anyway. What's the difference if I throw some of that crap in there? But it is significantly less. It's still counting up, but it's way less. Okay, see, there's misfire. Counted 2 misfires. I have reset the cam crank correlation every time I've done this test. So it's definitely, cam crank correlation is definitely good. But I'm going to do that just again anyway, because they say you're supposed to do it after every repair. Alright, let's do this again. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the car off for a second. Say engine should not accelerate. We already know this. Parking brake is on. It's in park. Do not apply brake pedal. It's off, on. And it says apply and hold brake pedal. Start engine oil. Air conditioning off. Okay. Out. Okay, as you can see, cylinder 1 is significantly less. After the crankshank variation. I don't know what that is. I am actually shocked. This doesn't make any sense. I guess it's not all bullshit. Again, full disclosure, there's 2 products in there. One is Restore, whatever that stuff is. I didn't know the Rizlon was so thick, or Rizlon, whatever, however you say it. I didn't know that was so thick, because if I would have known that it was that thick, that's what I would have just put in the cylinder. I just wanted to put a little bit in the cylinder to try to coat the wall, because the wall does have scoring. I just wanted to see what would happen. significantly lower. And just to reiterate, probably about 6 months ago, after I got the heads on and the new radiator in and everything buttoned up, I fixed all the wiring repair. All this stuff was like just severely deteriorated, so I replaced most of it, all back there and everything. And there was a couple wires that were damaged. It ran fine. Well, I'm sorry. Let me go back a step. I got it all back together, and still had the misfire, but it was just on cylinder 1. So I determined that there was low compression in cylinder 1, relative compression test. And so I did a leak down test. Cylinder 1's over here. I did a leak down test, and it had a lot of leakage. So I put some oil in the cylinder just to see if I can determine whether it was top end or bottom end, because I rebuilt the heads, and it's completely possible that I messed up. And I determined that it was in the bottom end because compression shot up. So I was like, okay, it needs rings or a block, whatever. At that time, I didn't put the borescope in it. I just was kind of, you know, the damage is done. Doesn't matter if I put a borescope in there or not. I put it back together, and I started it up to move it, and I noticed the misfire went away. Well, that misfire went away for about 6 months. 6 months that misfire went away. And I was like, what is going on here? I guess the rings were just stuck and were freed up now. So probably a week or two ago, something like that, I started it up, let it idle to charge the battery up, because I was too lazy to pull the charger out. And then the misfire came back. And the misfire, it was misfiring a lot. Constantly misfiring. So I did all the same stuff I did before, but I wanted to learn from it. Since I knew cylinder 1 was bad, I stuck the borescope in there. So I wanted to learn from it. Use my pressure transducers and see what I can, see what kind of stuff I could find. So I did that. I was able to see it in the crankcase for cylinder 1. And at that point, I decided it's going to need an engine, so let's try some of these snake oil things. Put something in the cylinder, and it fixed it last time for 6 months. See if I can get another 6 months out of it. And most of the time, this thing idles, and it's always run similar to this. It's never felt like a misfire. So I'm gonna put it in drive, see if it changes anything. Here's a. It's hard to see from here, but this is smooth. It's always been smooth. Now, like I said, this is significantly less. I mean, it was constantly counting up. I don't know, man. I keep saying the same thing over and over again, but I'm shocked. A friend of mine put me onto this stuff. It's like, oh, use this Rizlon or whatever, however you say it. And I'm like, yeah, no way. Bullshit. I guess he's right. That's where I'm going to leave it right now. So this is over, what's that, like 5 minutes, 9 minutes, significantly less misfires. You can see here, this thing's barely misfiring at all. Now it's going to make a liar out of me, but let's go back by the tailpipe. This thing's still smooth, so I'm going to let it run like this for a while. Oh, it's too hot. I'm not feeling anything. I am pretty impressed. Now it's going to make a liar out of me. As you can see, things running pretty smooth. Got a little shaky shake there, but Aside from that cylinder wall, no weird noises. This thing runs pretty damn good for 330,000 miles. Oh, wow. It's got a tachometer. Didn't even know that. Not very accurate, but 330,000 miles. So, sounds pretty good. So I'm going to take it around the block a little bit. This is pretty impressive. I'm kind of blown away, and my brain's not comprehending that this is working, because I always thought all this kind of shit is bullshit. Okay. I guess it's working. Like I said, this is misfiring still, but the time in between misfires is there's so much time. This is like a minute. I don't know what that is. It's like a minute and something, right? This thing is basically fixed. I want to go to OBD2, and I want to go to mode 6 and see if there's any misfire failures. There might be, because I didn't clear the codes. Come on there. Ready, ready, ready. Catalyst not ready. Evap's not ready. A little error. Alright, so evap sensor, where am I at here? Where's misfire? Misfire monitor is ready. Mode 6 is right here. Usually that'll have pending stuff. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. That stuff works, and I'm still in disbelief. I'm kind of shocked that it did. It didn't cure it 100%, but it significantly lowered it, and that is good enough for me. As long as that check engine light's not on, it's not flashing, I could care less. Like I said, I always think that shit that you put, all that stuff that they sell on on those shelves, fixes compression and all that stuff is bullshit. I mean, I guess the cylinder isn't as bad as I thought, because I can't see that really working, and it just doesn't make any sense. But I guess the proof is in the pudding. Oh, see, there's a misfire right there. But you see how it went up? Now, it's not constantly counting up. I only have 2 misfires. Right? See, 2. And after a certain amount, it drops down to 0 because it's not detecting any more misfires. So it might be a couple cycles that it goes through. It might be like, I don't know, 10 cycles or 5 cycles, 2 cycles, who knows, but there's another misfire there. So it does still misfire according to the PCM. It's pretty smooth, 330,000 miles, no weird noises. That ticking you hear is the purge valve, which is normal. When you rev it, sounds fine. There's no bottom end noise or anything. Like I said, I'm thoroughly impressed and confused at the same time, because I didn't believe it was going to work. But I figured, since this engine's trash, what's $7? Throw a $7 can in there, see what happens.